644, Michael Cohen, 1320 WILS. The New York Times today highlighting this couple. They in their 70s. They go to their bank, U.S. bank branch. They end up getting, from what I understand, somewhat ripped off to talk about how they handled their life savings, about $650,000 worth. We're joined by Steve Scanlon. He's with GuardVest.com. That website helps you figure out if your own financial advisor is doing the right thing. Steve, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, this was a bit of a confusing and jarring thing to read. So they essentially go to the bank and they end up with a situation where instead of getting a good deal, they end up paying a 4% charge annually on their $650,000. So $26,000 they're paying annually, and then they have another 7% surrender charge. So what is happening here? When you go to the bank and you ask them to deal with your money, how do you end up in this predicament?
Well, it happens every day. What happens is people don't realize the difference between finding an advisor who has to do what's in your best interest, or better known as a fiduciary, or a broker, which is what most people are, that can just sell you a product.
Now, what is the difference? Because the brokers they have to give you, quote, suitable investments, right? What does that mean?
Suitable.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It means I can make anybody that I want to suitable. Is effectively what it means, right? I documented this. They've got this amount of assets. Blah 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 blah. You can make anybody that you want suitable. Fiduciary. Here's what fiduciary means, Michael. It means that if you go to court and you're an advisor and you didn't do the right thing by your client and you're a fiduciary, the client sues you and the client wins. If you're a broker, you go in there with your 52 lawyers and you basically say, well, I did this, 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 and this, and it was suitable, and you lose. Okay. It's crazy to hire somebody that's not a fiduciary.
Yeah, in this case, the bank sold them variable annuities. From what you've read, this 4% that they have to pay annually, this annual charge. Does any of that make sense?
It's harder for that to make sense in this environment. I'm very, very familiar with variable annuities. I worked with them for a number of years back when they were reasonable in price. They've gotten very, very expensive, so they're not as I think, attractive to most people anymore. What happens is that people say, well, listen, Michael, you're going to give me $100,000, and all that $100,000 is going to go to work. And what people associate is, well, okay, he's not charging me any fee on this. He's not charging you an upfront fee, but they're making 4% a year on that. It doesn't make sense if the investment total return is only going to be 5%, and you're paying for that in fees and commissions, and that means you make 1%.
That's good. Now, it also says that the largest brokerage firms like Merrill, Wells Fargo, UBS, they pay their brokers.
Stanley, Goldman, all of them.
They pay their brokers and advisors 45 to 55% of fees. What does that lead to exactly?
It means essentially that they are paid and they are compensated to gather assets. That's their job. People think that these folks know what's going on in the market and that they're going to be able to somehow predict what's happening in the market. It's absolutely not true. They are paid and compensated to bring in assets. At the firm I worked for beforehand, you were paid about 40 to 50% on new assets, but only 10% a year to service the assets that you had. So it's an asset gathering game, this business, and there are really good advisors out there that can make a difference. But I'm going to give you some tough love.
How do you find them, though? Go ahead. What's the tough love? Give that for.
So here's the tough love. You can't give your money to the nice guy at the bank or the nice woman down the street that that you see at the block party, or the person that seems knowledgeable. You can't do that anymore. It's your own fault if you don't do a little bit of due diligence. Now, I have the solution, because what people don't have is time. What we do at GuardVest.com is in 60 seconds we tell you what your advisor is making and what they're doing versus indexes that cost you pennies to own. It takes you a minute to figure out if they're qualified to do their job or not.
But you have to enter all the information in, or do you
No, it's actually very, very simple. You create an account at GuardVest.com, and then in this couple's case, what they would have done is they would have pulled up. Here, let me walk you through exactly what they would have done.
We have about a minute, so let's hit it.
They would have created a GuardVest account. They would have linked their their U.S. bank account. They would have seen what they were paying their advisor. And then before they bought the variable annuity, they would have clicked on variable annuities, and I've written everything they need to know about variable annuities and asked their advisor, including the fees, including the surrender charges, and they never would have been in this position. People have got to hold their advisor accountable, and we do it for them.
Yeah, Merrill Lynch is starting this thing called Merrill Lynch Clear. Then they call these people, quote, trusted advisors. Are they somehow trying to manipulate people by doing this?
Yeah, you can name anybody that you want. I see people all the time that go, well, I'm a divorce expert, or I work exclusively with widows. Those are not designations that are real. Those are made-up designations that mean nothing.
Very quickly, Steve, if you don't have an advisor, you want to get one, is there a good source for that?
Yes, you go to guardvest.com and you go to an advisor that wants your business, and you say, before I give you a dime, you create a free look portfolio and let me watch your recommendations for a while before I allocate a capital. If you do have an advisor and you're not sure if they're good, or if you want to find an advisor, that's what we do, Michael.
Right.
www.guardvest.com. We answer all those questions in 60 seconds.
And it sounds like you should certainly ask about every fee, because they said, the banks said, hey, we told you about these fees. This couple said we didn't know anything about it. So obviously you need to get into the details. Steve Scanlon, the website, guardvest.com, guardvest.com. Steve, thank you.
Thank you.
We will be back in 60 seconds. We'll talk about a very disturbing mental disease people are dealing with. And imagine this, only about a third of them are being helped by doctors with the proper medication. We will find out why next.